Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson, Chapter 23, The Fourth Personal Sojourn of Beelzebub on the Planet Earth. Beelzebub continued thus: I descended for the fourth time to that planet Earth, owing to the request of my essence friend, Gurnjieff. I must first of all tell you that after I had met this Gurnjieff and had become friendly with him, I always, during our subjective exchange of opinions, whenever we again met, shared my impressions with him about the strange psyche of the three-centered beings of that planet of yours. And the result of these exchanges of opinion of ours concerning your favorites was that he finally also became so interested in them that he once even very seriously asked me to keep him always informed, even if only approximately, of my observations of them, and thereafter I sent to him, just as I did to your uncle Tuilan, copies of all my brief notes concerning the strange particularities of their psyche. And how Gurnjieff came to be the cause of this descent of mine ensued from the following. I have already told you that after my third personal descent to your planet, I occasionally, for a rest, ascended to the planet Saturn to this friend of mine. When, during these flights to him, I had become convinced of his great learning, the idea once arose in me to invite him to descend on our ship occasion to the planet Mars, in order there on the spot to help me personally with his knowledge in the details of arranging my observatory, which was just then being completed. Here I might as well emphasize the fact that if this observatory of mine afterwards became famous, and indeed the best of all the constructions of its kind in the whole of the universe, I am chiefly indebted to the learning of this same essence friend of mine. Well then, when I spoke to Gurnjieff about this, he, without thinking long about it, agreed, and together we immediately began to deliberate how to carry out our intention. The problem was that our route from the planet Saturn to the planet Mars would cross such cosmic spheres as did not correspond to the presence of Gurnjieff, a being who had as yet the possibilities only for an ordinary planetary existence. The result of our deliberations, then, was that on the following day his chief assistant began, under his direction, to arrange a special compartment in our ship, Occasion, itself, and to furnish it with every kind of adaptation and apparatus for elaborating those substances of which the atmosphere of the planet Saturn consists, and to which Gurnjieff was adapted by nature for existence. When all these preparations had been completed, we, 1 Herhu later, set out on our journey in the direction of the planet Mars and descended there at my house. And there on the planet Mars, which had almost the same atmosphere as the planet Saturn, my essence friend Gurnjieff very soon became acclimatized and began to exist almost freely. It was just during his stay on Mars that he devised that Tescahuano, or as your favorites call it, a telescope, thanks chiefly to which, as I've already told you, my observatory afterwards became particularly famous through the whole of the universe. The Tescahuano he constructed is indeed a marvel of being reason, as it increases the visibility of remote cosmic concentrations up to 7,285,000 times during certain processes in cosmic substances proceeding in the atmospheres surrounding almost all cosmic concentrations, as well as during certain processes in the cosmic etherochrylno of interspatial spheres. Thanks to this Tescahuano, I was sometimes fully able, while seated in my house on Mars, to observe almost everything that proceeded on those parts of the surface of other planets of this solar system, which, in the process of what is called the general system movement, were at the given time within the sphere of vision of my observatory. Well then, my dear boy, while Gornahor Harhark was then staying with me as my guest, and we were once together observing the existence of these favorites of yours, a certain fact, which we happened to notice, was the cause of a very serious exchange of opinions between us concerning the three-centered beings of that peculiar planet of yours. The result of this exchange of opinions of ours was that I undertook to descend onto the surface of that planet and to bring back to the planet Saturn a certain number of the beings called there apes, in order to carry out certain elucidating experiments with them concerning the fact we had noticed and which had then surprised us. At this point of Beelzebub's tales, he was given a litochambros, that is, a special metal plate on which is recorded the text of an etherogram, received from somewhere or other, the addressee having only to hold it to his perceptive hearing organ to hear everything communicated in it. When Beelzebub had in this way heard the contents of the litochambros handed to him, he turned to his grandson and said, "You see, my boy, what coincidences occur in our great universe. The contents of this etherogram concern just your favorites in connection with these terrestrial beings I've just mentioned. That is, these apes. It has been sent to me from the planet Mars, and among other things, there is communicated in it that the three-centered beings of the planet Earth have again begun to revive what is called the ape question. I must tell you first of all that on account of a cause also ensuing from the abnormal being existence there was long ago crystallized, and there is periodically intensified in its functioning in the presences of those strange three-brained beings arising and existing on the planet Earth, a strange factor which from time to time produces in their presences a crescendo impulse, owing to which, during the periods of its action, they wish at all costs to find out whether they have descended from these apes or whether these apes have descended from them. Judging from the etherogram, this question is this time agitating chiefly those biped beings who breed there on the continent called America. Although this question always agitates them from time to time, yet every once in a while it becomes there for a long time, as they express it, the burning question of the day. I very well remember that this agitation of mind concerning the origin of these apes occurred there among them for the first time when, as they also like to express it, their center of culture was Tikliamish. The beginning of that agitation of mind there was the wiseacring of a certain learned being of new formation there named Menitkel. This Menitkel then became a learned being, firstly